Hello, you lovelies. We are live. How are you today? It is a big ol' news day. We have a giant announcement for the 2025 Marvel slate. We also, as is tradition, have our comics to review from last week and previewing today's books. I always try to read all of last week's books in a week, but usually the show is like Thursday because I've done a lot of catching up. Today, I'll be able to preview today's new books available at your local comic shop right now. In addition to all that, we're also going to talk about Robert Downey Jr.'s AI comments, which tie directly into the character in a very interesting way. And Josh Brolin briefly talked about Thanos. But the big news far and away is that insane slate. The next 14 months, we have 10 Marvel properties, 10 adaptations of the comic books just within the MCU. That's not counting Spider-Man Noir. That's not counting potentially Beyond the Spider-Verse. Going to talk about all that. But if you are new to this page, I do comic book news and reviews, the comic books themselves, as well as movie news and reviews. So if you're into pop culture, if you're into movies, TV, comic books, hit that subscription bell. We are rapidly approaching 37K in a row. And please leave a comment. I want to talk about this slate in a conversational way. I'd love to hear which things you're excited for, what things surprised you. Were there any of these you hadn't heard about? A lot of people didn't know there was a Wonder Man show. I'm very excited to talk about Simon Williams and Yahya playing him. Very excited to dive into all that, but we're going to go in order. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you're excited for. And as always with the lives, I am going to be periodically checking the live chat, but I will admittedly not have time to catch each and everything. So every single super chat I will answer before I leave. So if you want to have a question get guaranteed ask, throw in a super chat, and I promise you I'll go back through and get every super chat by the end of the stream. That is all of this very long intro. Let's talk about that slate. So yesterday I heard a crazy rumor that they'd locked in all their dates. I checked with a couple sources and I tweeted out the dates that I heard. So that was yesterday morning and I got the usual, this isn't true, blah, 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 which is fair. Like a lot of rumors aren't true and a lot of times people just share stuff. I try to validate my stuff as best I can. So I was pretty confident in those release dates. A couple hours later, Disney Plus posted a trailer. If you went back to Agatha episode 1, this trailer was about 2 minutes, a minute 45 seconds of just brand new footage, except for a little bit we saw at D23 3 years ago of their giant slate for the rest of this year and all of next year. And at the end of it, it confirmed each and every one of those dates that I had heard. So that message with the dates was founded in this crazy, crazy trailer that officially went live on YouTube this morning at 6 a.m. That was on Disney Plus yesterday afternoon with Agatha. This all ties into Agatha all along getting the finale today. And by the way, tonight, there'll be another video on this page because I will be reviewing the Agatha 8 and 9 double episode finale right here on this page, not live, but I'll be doing a video that hopefully I get up by like 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. And then tomorrow I'll probably be doing a breakdown of my November excited releases. So lots of stuff coming to this in the next 48 hours. I will hopefully find sleep. But within that 2-minute trailer, we got our first look at Wonder Man. We got our first public look at Ironheart. A lot of us saw a lot of that footage 3 whole years ago at D23, but I want to talk about the footage with each in release order. So we get this year on November 12th. Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine has been out in theaters. It is now out on Blu-ray. I'm so glad it got a Blu-ray release before its streaming release. I know it's been out on digital a little bit, but as a physical media guy, very happy they gave it a little bit of a window before Disney Plus because you can get it right now on Blu-ray and DVD, which I highly recommend. But after November 12th, the next thing on the slate is this year, we are getting What If Season 3. Now, to me, that's crazy because last year they didn't really promote What If Season 2 and it kind of came out unceremoniously. With the improvement of how good What If Season 2 was to Season 1, I really wish they had promoted it. I enjoyed What If Season 2 quite a bit more, and I'm hoping Season 3 is the same elevation. I'm shocked it is coming out this year, and this will be the last season. We're going to have some graphics since I'm not editing this and it's going up live. We're going to use the iPad. So What If Season 3 drops this year on December 22nd. I imagine it's going to have the same rollout as last year where it's every single day through the holidays, we get 8 or 10 or however many episodes of the show. So from the 22nd right up until New Year's, we're getting lots and lots of new Marvel stuff. So this image of the Cap Gundam got me excited. That's what I chose for What If dropping. Then very few weeks later, because this is going to go basically 10 days probably, so right up until New Year's, in January. Mere 4 weeks after that, we get the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series. This drops on January 29th. So kicking off 2025, we have brand new Spider-Man content. Now, this was only about 20 seconds of footage, but it immediately looks like old school Steve Ditko to me. It's got a really fun blend of SpiderVerse 3D. I do think the animation style is very polarizing. It's not going to be for everyone, but I'm really excited to check it out. I just finished the Spectacular Spider-Man, the incredible show that only got 2 seasons. And right now, that's the bar for me, that and the 90s animated series. So part of me is really excited for this. Part of me hopes they bring the 90s animated series back. I don't think we'll ever get Spectacular Spider-Man Season 3, but I'm going to give this one a chance and always hope for more Spider-Man. So kicking off any year with Spider-Man has me excited. We will see how this 2025 year goes, because that is one of 9 properties we get from the MCU next year. We get 3 live action shows, 3 animated shows, and 3 movies next year. There are only 3 months where there isn't a brand new property, and a lot of those months will still be airing the other show that was already in progress. So there's very little time next year that isn't marvelous. And that doesn't include, obviously, everything from DC. We'll talk about that at the end. The stuff from Sony that's adapting these characters. It's crazy what next year is. So January 29th is Spider-Man, and a mere 2 weeks later, on February 14th, on Valentine's Day, you can spend it with Cap, because we get Captain America 4 Brave New World. So 2 weeks after Spider-Man, it's only going to be on episode 3, we get Captain America. Brave New World is very Hulk heavy. Very curious how this all shakes out with our introduction to Thunderbolt Ross with Harrison Ford. We've had Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU, but never as Hulk. We've never had him as president. We've never had him as Harrison Ford. So this has the leader in it. I'm really curious how this shakes out. It's got Brave New World meets Winter Soldier energy as far as the new footage. There was no footage brand new, but the footage we got about a month ago definitely felt like what we'd seen of Brave New World a few months back meets Winter Soldier with the reshoot. So I'm really curious how this shakes out a mere 2 weeks after Spider-Man. And then not long after that, my most anticipated of the entire slate, on March 4th, we get Daredevil Born Again. Now, Daredevil Born Again on March 4th means we've got like weeks and weeks of peak, because we're going right from a giant tentpole movie, 2 weeks later going right into the most anticipated Marvel show maybe of all time. Daredevil was, I think, the best, or at least top 5 Marvel adaptations of all time. The Netflix Daredevil show is the top tier bar for me. It's up there with Winter Soldier. It's up there with anything. I put it over most of comic adaptations, and it was so hard when it left to know that, like, okay, we don't have Daredevil anymore. What are they going to do eventually do at Marvel? And then there was talk of bringing it back. And then we found out later that the show was going to be completely different tone. I heard like Spin City vibes, like courtroom comedy drama. And after much protesting, this to me feels like the rare time where fan outrage turned something good, like Sonic, where the Sonic teeth got fixed and Sonic is not as terrifying anymore. But Daredevil is now effectively a season 4. So not only do we get the actors back in their roles, not only is like Vanessa played by the Vanessa actress from the Netflix show, not only does it seem to continue even in this trailer because the blood splatter on the rabbit print that they're looking at in the trailer, but we are continuing the story into Mayor Fisk. So not only do we get a brand new villain in Muse, which is from the incredible Charles Soule, Ron Garney run that I highly recommend. It's Daredevil Volume 5. It starts with issue 1 because it's a brand new volume that came out in, I believe, 2015, and issue 11 gives us the first introduction of Muse, and Ron Garney's art is absolutely stunning. Charles Soule's writing, he gets Daredevil. Highly recommend you read that run, and you could read all of Muse within, like, I think 12 or so issues. You could read the first 4 trades of Volume 5 and get all the Muse. Read from issue 1 to issue, I believe the legacy number is 600, but it's only issue 577 in that way. So it's like 23, 24 issues. Highly recommend you check out Muse before the show drops. I'll make a video about Muse and who he is, give you some more comic recs for Daredevil, but very excited to see Daredevil Born Again. Very excited to see Hornhead back in live action. I do consider this one of the best adaptations, and I'm really glad Disney decided to go with that storyline and effectively make a season 4 instead of trying to reinvent the wheel with the same actors. That seems very short-sighted to me with how good the Netflix show was. So that is March 4th, a mere 8 weeks later. The biggest gap I believe we have, and if you think about it, Daredevil's still going to be airing when this movie drops. So April is the first month with no new Marvel content, but Daredevil's airing through April. So right into May, first week of May, in the Marvel date, we get Thunderbolts. Now, Thunderbolts is one of the more intriguing prospects out of this entire slate because it does feel like it's a holdover from the Greenlight Everything era, but it's not something that sat on the shelf for 2 years like some of the shows we'll talk about that deserve their time to shine. It's kind of a mix. It's kind of like Brave New World, where it's been made a while, got a bunch of reshoots, took some notes, and is being retooled. And that first trailer I thought was exceptional. The Thunderbolts trailer looks like a really weird, fun tone. I love the Asterix mystery. I still think it's going to change to Dark Avengers after the events of Brave New World. I think there's a post-credit scene that sets up Thunderbolts that makes it into Dark Avengers because it reads like a Dark Avengers. They say assemble twice in the trailer, once in text and once verbally. I am very excited for Thunderbolts Insanity because we haven't really seen anything quite like this out of the MCU. So I'm excited for a darker evolution of Marvel. We've got an R-rated Deadpool. We're going to have an R-rated Blade eventually. We've got R-rated content coming out from the adaptations that deserve to be R-rated. And R-rated art is a different thing. Not every character needs to be R-rated. The Thunderbolts don't necessarily need to be R-rated. But going in a darker direction, I think, is the right move for some corners of the MCU. We don't need an R-rated Spider-Man yet. Maybe in a Kraven's Last Hunt, maybe in some Venom stories, but not Spider-Man himself. So there's certain characters I think could go R-rated. I think Thunderbolts is a great bridge into that world. So that's May. Not long after that, I think June is a quiet month, but July is stacked. Now, DC is obviously separate from Marvel, but in July 25th, 2 weeks after Superman drops, we get Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is maybe the biggest movie event from Marvel next year. It is literally launching a new type of universe. It's got an all-star cast. It's a very anticipated property in general. Fantastic Four has the big flashy July release date. I'm very excited for a comic-accurate Galactus. I'm very excited to see take 3 on these iconic characters in cinema. So July is huge for Marvel, and that is not long after basically the big kickoff of the Fantastic Four. We don't wait that many months until we go right into the biggest thing they're doing next year in July with the insanity of Fantastic Four. And then not long after that, that's July 25th, August 6th, which is literally 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after Fantastic Four, we get Eyes of Wakanda. Now, Eyes of Wakanda is a different thing altogether. It's not a full 10-episode series, not even an 8-episode series. It's a 4-episode limited series. The team behind this, I adore. Mark Bernardin is writing it, one of the writers on it, and Mark Bernardin's a genius. I love his writing. I'm really curious about this because I feel like it's the thing we know the least about. I saw footage of this at the premiere of What If Season 2 last year. So it's been a bit that we've had a little bit of footage, but this is the first time I think there's been public footage. It's got some god energy. It's got some very like mythic, even the Greek god imagery in the little bit of footage we got. I'm really curious about the 4 episodes, what it tells, what it's going to be like. Excited to see more of Wakanda. I personally got a lot out of Wakanda Forever. The use of silence as a character was really powerful for me. So I'm really excited to see this very, very, very soon after Fantastic Four on August 6th. Then we go right from August into September. Now, September 3rd is very close to my birthday. And this show is actually my 3rd or 4th most anticipated. A lot of people don't have it high on their list, but I'm a huge fan of Riri Williams. I'm so excited for Ironheart. So on August 6th, then 4 weeks, that puts us into the end of August. And then the very next week, we get Ironheart. Now, Dominique Thorne is one of those castings that I think hasn't had the time to shine yet. I liked Wakanda Forever quite a bit. I didn't love Ironheart's use in Wakanda Forever. I thought, even though she screen tested with Chadwick, even though she was in the story from the beginning, that storyline did feel a bit like, we got to go over here. It felt not quite shoehorned in, but it didn't feel as organic as a lot of the other storylines. I'm really excited to see her get an organic storyline, get her time to shine, because I love this character. I love Bendis' writing. Dominique Thorne, the actress, talks like a Bendis character. She's got that Amy Sherman Palladino pentameter and punch. Very excited for Ironheart. And I will be totally honest. Some of this is a bias because of my being a fan of Dominique Thorne, the human. I've met her at a number of events, premieres, social things, and she is so in love with this character. She is so in love with the Marvel Universe. She is so in love with this comic culture that I'm really just rooting for Dominique herself. So this dropping in September is one of my most anticipated. I loved the footage we saw at D23 all those years ago. The tone is really cool because it's definitely Ryan Coogler produced. It's got a lot of the Coogler energy, but it's also got mystic, magical elements mixed in with a lot of the grittier, very hustle energy. Like there's this really cool hip hop flavor to the footage mixed with magic. And that's just dope to me. Like I'm just really excited for that energy. It feels very Wu-Tang. And that energy, I think, really allows the Hood to shine. Because the Hood's a street level criminal that gets dark magic. And that is such a combination of mystic and hip hop. That is such a Wu-Tang energy. So to see Anthony Ramos in that role, to see how that ties mysticism into technology, because Ironheart obviously is going to be a blend of those two with the Hood as a mystical character and with her use of science and technology, all of this set at school at MIT. I'm just stoked for Ironheart, man. One of my most anticipated of next year that comes out in September. Then in October, because what spooky season without some spooky, we get another limited series with Marvel Zombies. Now, I did a reaction over at Real Rejects, and it was a feverish minute and 45 that I hadn't seen the footage, so I was just speed rounding all the things I saw on screen. I did notice the Thunderbolts were in this episode of What If. What I didn't realize was that this was Blade as Moon Knight. So this is, what do we call that? Moon Knight, Daywalker, Nightwalker. This is the Knigh, Nightwalker right here. Blade as Moon Knight is dope. I'm very excited for this. I think this is going to be a big surprise to people. So we get a What If at the end of this year, but then we get a direct What If spinoff because Marvel Zombies was an episode of What If, and this is in the What If style. You'll notice Spider-Man and X-Men 97, different animation styles. This is in the What If style, direct spinoff of What If. We get this next October for spooky season. This year we got Agatha. Next year we get Marvel Zombies. And then to close us out, I am so excited. A year from next month, it's almost December, a year from December to end 2025, we get Wonder Man. Now, you guys, Simon Williams is a weird character that doesn't work a lot of the time, but when he does, he's exceptional. West Coast Avengers is an absolute bop. West Coast Avengers is one of those weird, hard to explain 60s, 70s tone. Even the modern West Coast Avengers, some of that stuff feels like the 60s and 70s tone. But if there was ever a 60s, 70s-esque character, it's this outfit right here. And I love that they are just directly translating that into what Yahya is wearing. I'm very excited because of Yahya Abdul Mateen II. This dude is I think the best comic book show next to Daredevil is Watchmen. I think Daredevil, what a run. It's my number one most anticipated for a reason with this season 4. But Watchmen changed TV, changed adaptations, and I think a huge part of that is how good Yahya Abdul Mateen II is. He's also great as Black Manta, even if the writing wasn't, especially in the second one. But I really love this dude's work. He's great in everything he's in. He's exceptional in Candyman, which is Nia DaCosta, is why I was so excited for the Marvels. That movie didn't work out for me, but I love Nia DaCosta's work overall, especially in Candyman, especially with him. His work in Trial of Chicago 7. He's one of those actors I just adore. I've gotten to interview him, hang out with him a few times, and his passion for comics is second to none. Like, he literally is such a genius and such a passionate dude. He got 2 degrees, one in acting, one in architecture, and he told me that, quote, if they weren't going to put me on the stage, I was going to build it myself. This dude is so dedicated, so passionate, so interesting. I love this guy. Like, I'm a big fan of him. Whenever I run into him, like whether it's just out in the world at a premiere or interviewing, we have the best conversations. Like, I talk to people for a living. Some of the best conversations I've had about comics or life are with Yahya Abdul Mateen II, and him as Wonder Man. Could not be more excited. The footage we saw is the first footage I think anyone's ever seen. I hadn't seen it yet. Trevor Slattery's in there. It's got Shane Black, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang vibes. Very like dynamic duo buddy cop energy between the two of them, but they're actors. If you've ever acted, the PTSD that came out of that footage of the audition room is strong. Really, really excited for this show personally, and I think it adds some meta-ness to the world having an actor play an actor in the MCU and the cheekiness of the Trevor Slattery stuff. I'm really excited for Wonder Man. So those are the 10 properties coming out in the next 14 months from Marvel, and that is absolutely insane. So to go over those one more time with a graphic for you lovelies, we're going to dive into, within the 12 months that is 2025, this entire slate now with release dates. That is absolutely staggering. I am so very excited for next year. That is a lot of stuff, and I'm going to cover each and every one of those on this channel. Everything on here, these 9 plus the What If this year, all 10 will be covered right here in this channel. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet, do so, please, you lovelies. I am very excited to dive into all of that. Remember, later in this episode, we're going to review last week's books and preview the stuff coming up. But before we get to that, let's run through one more time real quick. January 29th, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. February 14th, Cap 4. March 4th, Daredevil Season 4. I don't care if they're calling it that or not. Daredevil Born Again if you're nasty. May 2nd, Thunderbolts. July 25th, Fantastic Four. August 6th, Eyes of Wakanda. September 3rd, Ironheart. October, sometime, Marvel Zombies. And December, sometimes Wonder Man. That is absolutely insane. So I want to hear from you. I'm putting in the chat. I'm going to try to read all of that goodness as quick as I can. And you guys can let me know what you're most excited for. I am really curious what people are anticipating. For me, I think it goes Daredevil because one of my favorite adaptations of all time, one of my favorite characters of all time, Fantastic Four, and then I think Ironheart, and then Thunderbolts, and then, let's see, and then Wonder Man, and then Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and then right into Eyes of Wakanda, and then Marvel Zombies. What a slate. Like, all of that sounds fantastic, and they're all literally weeks apart. 9 properties, 12 months, and those are multiple week properties. It is almost not a single week next year we don't have something Marvel. That is so exciting. All right, everyone in here is saying Ironheart comes out on June 24th. That's not what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong, but I heard it was September 3rd. I don't think it's a June release. I don't know if that would work with Thunderbolts. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Let me know in the chat if it is June, because the last I heard it was September. We got Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and What If we're excited about from Shield Vids. Eon Bloch is saying, I can't believe Daredevil Season 4 comes out on my birthday. Happy birthday in March, you lovelies. Fatigue, says Ash. I read new comics every week. A new show every month is Child's Play. I read new comics every day. But yeah, every week. I totally agree, Ash. Same. It's what a gift to have our childhood and adulthoods on screen. Very excited. In the trailer, Samil says it is June 24th. I apologize, you lovelies. I heard September and I believed it. I'm excited because that's even sooner. So we do not have a gap from May to July. We literally have Thunderbolts right into, that makes me think of the Doctor Doom stuff even more. That's interesting because that means it comes out before Fantastic Four. What a good way to get people excited for Doom than getting him set up before he appears in Fantastic Four or even appearing in Ironheart. That's exciting. Thank you, everyone, for telling me that. I did not realize. Daredevil, top of the list. Eyes of Wakanda, bottom of it. Love when Carly's wrong. You know, it's fair. I do occasionally slip because there's a lot of data. Top heavy 2025 for sure. Marvel conflict influx. Well, the Marvel content influx is because there's been stuff that's been sitting because of the strike, because of so many things. I personally think next year getting everything that's been filmed virtually all out, and then 2026 leading up to Doomsday. I think this is a good system. Jareem, that's a cool name. Jareem Noguaras. That's a dope name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. I'm sure I did, but that is a cool name. There's a lot of vowels, and as a Koijandro, I like a good vowely name. I'm a 90s kid trying to get back into comics, and I find a lot of new art so lacking. What are your suggestions for new comics with great art? Look up Michael Jannon's stuff. He is over at DC right now. His art is absolutely beautiful. Marco Cicchetto's art on Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, is absolutely stunning. I think the current artist on Avengers is really good. I think it's all it's subjective because it's art, but I would find an artist you like and then follow their work if art is the driving force for you. For me, it used to be artist, but now it's writing, and then art comes second. But I obviously, when a bad artist is on a book I'm liking, it's really hard, so I get you. My laptop is almost dead. Please hold. Jeremy? Oh, that makes sense. It's a cool way to spell Jeremy. I was just corrected. It is probably Jeremy with all the vowels. Now we know. Jeremy, great question. As a 90s kid myself, born in 88, but, 90s upbringing. Art then did have more time, I believe. I think artists were paid a little better comparatively, like inflation and all that, but I don't know what the dip is. I think a lot of the best artists literally just got a lot of the big ones just went to DC because I hear that's a little bit better, but I would find an artist you like, follow their work, and then find characters that way because it's really it's a really cool way to discover new characters is through the art. I follow writers to find new characters, but find people you like and live chat, suggest folk that I haven't mentioned yet. Let's talk about the quotes, and then at the end, when I do my comic book reviews from last week, I'll go through some of the artists in my favorite books. Maybe that'll help guide you to new stuff. Jahasil Para said, would you say The Batman to The Penguin is the best and smoothest transition from movie to television? Yes, actually. I would Man, I would. I think Gen V was really impressive, but I do think the Penguin, literally the last frame of the Batman going right into the first frame of the Penguin, was so exceptional, and it also showed a tonality in Gotham. It showed a really beautiful use of world building. It also felt very much like a comic book where I was reading an event book and then I went back to the monthly with Penguin because it's a weekly show, which I love. I'm so glad it's not binge bullshit. But I really, really think it's the best transition I've ever seen. Gen V is very close. I was really impressed with Gen V. Obviously, that's TV to TV, but the boys into Gen V felt like looking at the world, and the boys was looking down, and the world of Gen V is looking up. And I thought that was really cool. Gotham feels similar, where you were Batman with Batman, and Gotham was like this thing you were trying to save, and now we're in Gotham, and it feels so much more impactful. Love that transition. Big fan of what they did with that. And I'm sorry I was so close to the mic because apparently it got real loud. Apologies. All right, let's talk about now. By the way, that is just the Marvel release. Obviously, Creature Commandos is this December as well, so we're gonna get Creature Commandos as well as What If Season 3. Very excited for Creature Commandos to kick off the DC universe next year from DC. We also get Superman on July 11th. Very excited. But in addition to that, we also are going to be getting Peacemaker Season 2. I'm assuming that's going to be Q3 or Q4. So one of those months is going to have double duty with DC and Marvel. Also, next year, we get Gen V Season 2 at some point. Speaking of the boys going into Gen V, they switch off here. So at some point, we'll get Gen V Season 2. And next year, we're getting the Spider-Man Noir show starring Nicolas Cage in live action. I'm so excited for that. Lamorne Morris as Robbie Robertson has me so excited. Brendan Gleeson's in it, and he's a villain. Very excited for Spider-Man Noir in live action over at Amazon. Don't know what month it's out, so I didn't make this list because this was just the MCU. But next year is stacked. That's 9 properties guaranteed from Marvel. That is 2 properties guaranteed from DC. That is at least 3 additional properties variously from studios adapting these characters. Next year is, what is that, 11 plus 3, 14. Oh my God, I am so excited. Now, before we move into the comics themselves, there are 2 quotes I thought were very interesting this week. Robert Downey Jr., when asked about AI and what he is doing as an actor, literally said, and this is funny because in the comic books, Iron Man dies, just like Iron Man dies in the movie, but Iron Man comes back as an AI guide, kind of a Jarvis, a man in the chair, if you will, but way more tech, to Riri. And so there was a lot of people that wanted that. And that thing could be a decent storyline for, Iron Man uploaded his personality to deliver a message to his kids and his family after he passed. But I don't know if a full-on sentience would feel like it underwrote the death of Downey. Either way, he's coming back as Doom, so it's moot. But the AI in real life that's overtaking art in our reality, Downey Jr. refuses to let take over his personal image, likeness, voice, anything, and said, quote, "I intend to sue all future executives just on spec. When dead, my law firm will still be very active." He refuses to have an AI digital replica replace him in any project, alive or dead. I love that an actor that is at the top of his game, that literally is getting, I think, the most money anyone's ever been paid in acting, that is literally the face of technology, is coming out against AI this strongly. This is very, very important and a very good precedent. And I just wanted to give some love to Downey for being like, no. This is a skill set. You cannot replicate it. And all AI does is copy. It is a mimic. It is not even a tracer. Tracing requires some skill. Inkers aren't tracers, but tracing requires some skill. It's literally just a plagiarist. So I love that Downey Jr. is refusing to let his talent be plagiarized by AI. This makes me very happy. Hell yeah, Tony Stark. Hell yeah, Robert Downey Jr. for making a stand on this. And I just wanted to give some love to that because I feel like that quote isn't everywhere enough. Because we have plenty of actors being brought back from the dead because their estates, and plenty of art being lost to tech bros and plagiarizers. So I love Downey Jr. for coming out against it. And then another quote I really enjoyed this week, Josh Brolin did an interview over at Collider, and when asked about Thanos said, quote, "I'm not kidding. There's a thing with playing Thanos. It's like, oh, they're going to bring Thanos back. It's like Sicario. It has to be right. It's like Ryan Reynolds and I talking about Taylor Swift, and we should be talking about Deadpool 4. But we got to go back and forth. Again, it's what in his mind fits. What in my mind fits. Thanos has to fit, and if you're going to bring him back, I would do anything that the Russos wanted me to do." So there's a lot of stuff going on in that quote. One, talking about like other conversations, talking about the maybe, talking about how he and Thanos see eye to eye, but also Russos are back for both Doomsday and Secret War. I could easily see with the insane multiversal stuff, a Thanos existing. I could see King Thanos existing, which is a Donny Cates creation. I could see Brolin coming back as another Thanos. We've already seen 2 different timeline Thanoses as is. That was time traveled in a different way, not a multiverse. But we could very easily see Thanos come back. I would count on it, especially with Ultron coming back in Vision, with Thanos being so prevalent in pop culture and in certain game adaptations, him always coming back in the comics. I would expect to see Thanos, but it was cool to hear Josh Brolin talk on it because I do think it's coming. I also love how much he loves Thanos. Like I love how much he has loyalty to that character, and I really, really dig Brolin's just vibe. I think he's rad. So yeah, I'm very curious. What do you guys think? Are you excited for more Brolin Thanos if it occurs? What do you guys think about Downey Jr.'s comments on AI? And my last bit of news is just to, throw a little bit of data. Joker 2 is available on digital as of yesterday. I wanted to do a live yesterday, but I wanted the dates to be confirmed for all of that Marvel stuff, so I waited to have those locked in. Then the trailer came out like in the afternoon, then there's a whole thing and I lost time. But yesterday I wanted to talk about the Joker 2. It is on digital insanely fast because, nobody cares about movie theaters. But I'm very excited for people that were maybe not going to see it because of the Rotten Tomatoes score, because of word of mouth. Even if, 5% of people like it that discover it on home video. I didn't love it. I liked it, and then I loved the ending. I like any art that causes conversation, and I think the joke being on us was very, very dark and Joker. So I personally am excited for it to find maybe a different audience on digital, on home video. People discovering it that way might occur, and it is on digital right now. Love it or hate it, it's on digital as we speak. That is going to be the news. We covered Brolin. We covered Reynolds. We covered, Downey. We covered all of the slate from Marvel. Smash that like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Rick Costa. That means the world. I appreciate that very, very much. Let's see. I want to dive into the glory that is last week's comics. Guys, I did not set any, I don't know how to set ads in lives because my hands have been in screen the whole time. So someone just said the ads are out of control. I'm so sorry. And people watching this later when the live replays, I don't know how many ads will be. I have no control, but I know what's going into the holidays, so YouTube gets a little crazy. I apologize. Not it. Much love. Thank you for being here, and I'm so sorry if that's affecting your experience. Let's talk about the comic books. I am so happy at the amount of you that leave comments, and please keep leaving them, saying that you've gotten back into comics because of this page, because of this show. I love the amount of people that are talking about the comics they're reading because they've heard me talk about them. The goal of this segment, of this show, of reviving this channel, because I really only started uploading this channel again in earnest in April. In 6 months, you guys have helped grow this page from 22,000 to almost 37,000. We have grown this almost 15,000 in 6 months. I want to keep that pace growing. I want to hit 50K, maybe December, January. At that pace, probably late January, but I love that this is working because comic book stuff does not do as well as movie stuff, period. So I try to do movie headlines to bring people in, but then people staying for the comics is working. People are rediscovering or discovering comic books. That is the goal. So please keep leaving those comments. Please share this show, this page, this channel with people that love comics, with people that love movies that might get into comics. It is working. Let's talk about the comics themselves. These were my favorite comic books from last week, the week of October 23rd, which was somehow a week ago today. Time is flying. My favorite book from last week, not surprising me because I'm loving the Absolute line so far, was Absolute Wonder Woman #1. I say all the time, I want to make these my favorites, but also try to lean more approachable. This is as approachable as it gets. Absolute Batman dropped last month, Absolute Wonder Woman this month, last week, and Absolute Superman comes out next month. This is DC's answer to the Ultimate line. This is all brand new, approachable, jump on it now books that you can read if you've never read a comic. Brand new origins, brand new continuity, brand new takes on iconic characters with new #1s. This Wonder Woman is dark, it's intense, it's hyper violent, it's super badass warrior. If you like Wonder Woman, you'll dig it. Absolutely check this out. Absolutely check out Absolute Batman 1. And next month, I would absolutely recommend you check out Absolute Superman #1. I'm going to keep talking about this line as long as they stay good. I'm so happy with this ultimate take on DC. Next up, we've got Avengers #19. This felt like a beginning to a new arc. I do feel like it's escalating in stakes really quickly. I really like the intensity of this issue. It feels like Avengers level stakes. Sometimes Avengers books, the things they're up against don't feel like it's worthy of, 10 of the most powerful characters in comic books. This with Doom as Sorcerer Supreme? Absolutely does. Sorcerer Supreme Doom is leading right up to Doomsday. The importance of Doom in the comics right now is huge, and this issue really illustrates Doom's power, but also the Avengers' power. Really, really fun issue with number 19. Next up, oh, you know what? I have graphics I saved earlier for this so I could make it so you guys could actually see what I was talking about, and I forgot I prepped this on Tuesday. Hold one moment. This is the cover to Absolute Wonder Woman #1. So if that book sounds intriguing to you, this is what you're looking for at your local comic shop. If it hasn't sold out yet, you can ask them to get you a second printing. If not, but Absolute Wonder Woman #1 looks like that. And then Avengers #19. This book is glorious. I said earlier about artist Karami is the new artist on Avengers. Really dig this stuff. Very clear. This person studies like anatomy and musculature. Really cool yoked looking heroes because they would be. Really liked Karami's style on these characters. Next up, my next book I'd recommend, my #3. Also, I've upped it to 10. Enough of you commented that you wanted top 10 because it made more sense than top 9. I've upped this to my top 10 books of the week because 9 was a grid, so I like to post the grid, but now that I'm doing this live, 10 just works. So these are my top 10 books from last week as opposed to top 9. Next up, we've got Dead Eyes, The Empty Frames #2. This is from Duggan and McCrae. Duggan is an iconic Deadpool writer. He's one of my favorite Deadpool writers, and he's from Boston. I love Boston. I'm from Boston. And this is effectively a Deadpool-esque character, criminal, vigilante, wisecracking, loudmouth from Boston. And the story is set in Boston. It's everything I could want. Dead Eyes is great. It's an indie book. It's supporting new characters, which I always try to encourage. Dead Eyes is witty and fun and weird and crime. It's a great book. Next up, we've got a brand new, this might as well be a #1, by the way. This is a great jumping on point to mainstream the core continuity over at DC. With the all-in line, they're trying to bring people in, and they're bringing new creative teams on these characters, and they're trying to make continuity a little more cleaned up. This book is one of the best Batman issues I've read in a long time, and that's saying a lot because Batman's killing it right now. Detective Comics #1090. Now, that is such an intimidating number. 1,090 issues into Detective Comics. That would be hard if you don't know how comics have new entryway points. You don't have to read 1,090 issues. This is a brand new creative team. This is Tom Taylor and Michael Janin. I mentioned Michael Janin at the top of this. He's one of my favorite artists working. Tom Taylor is one of my favorite writers working, and they crushed this. This might as well be an issue 1. This brand new jumping on point right here with 1090. Look for this cover. It is such good Batman lore. It is such a fun book. It's diving into Batman's responsibility with money. It's diving into Gotham. It's diving into what a cleaned up Gotham looks like on the surface, what Batman would do in that world. It's a lot of the commentary you love with Batman, but a brand new team to jump on with that stuff, and I know they're going to take it in some weird, great ways. Next up, we've got Gromit's #5. Now, I talk about this book a lot. It is only a 7-issue miniseries. Gromit's is an 80s set book that is basically a love letter to skateboarding in the 80s, but it's also just a hang. It's a fun, chill hang. And I love books that are like that feel like a party, that feel like a hang. This is Dazed and Confused, like in its tone. This issue in particular is hyper violent. It involves a house fight after a house party, but overall, a general hang, and it's really fun commentary in the 80s. It's written by Rick Remender, who I think is absolutely one of the best writers working like in any medium. His Deadly Class is one of my favorite things. I loved Scumbag. This is some of his best stuff. Brian Posehn's also writing it, who is a hilarious stand-up comic who does a lot of great comic writing as well. Both types of comic. And Brett Parson on art is exactly the tone and style you'd want for a book like this. Then we've got Harley Quinn all in. Guys, this is another effectively #1. It is officially issue 44, but it might as well be a #1. This is so much fun. It's her juggling what it means to be good, mean to be bad, her PhD, her using psychology in actual crime fighting / bad girl moments. This is such a great commentary in her very gray moral code. Harley Quinn's one of my favorite characters, so she often makes the list. This is an exceptional new jumping on point with issue 44. This is from 2 people I do not know, which is fun. Elliot Kalan, I do not know the writer, and Mindy Lee was first introduced here, both exceptional. This is one of the best, if you're into like literature, if you're into satire and more of a dark take on comedy, like a Hunter S. Thompson book. This is highly recommended from Simon Spurrier. It is a very long title. It is John Constantine Hellblazer, Dead in America. This is issue 10. I would honestly go back to issue 1, but I have to give this book some love. It is about what our reality is. It's got story mancers basically taking power from dark elements of storytelling itself. It deals with Hollywood. It deals with the occult. It deals with all of the depravity of some underbelly elements of society, and it all does that with the wit and dank smelliness of Hellblazer. Highly recommend, especially if you're a Constantine fan. This run's been sensational. Then we've got Local Man number 25. Now, this actually came out last week, but my comic store was sold out, which is a great problem. Now, if you're reading Local Man, you might have been confused because last week was issue 13, or last month was issue 13. This jumps ahead a year. It's a year later story, and they did the numbering accordingly. So a year after 13, monthly, 13 plus 12, 25. I thought that was genius. The issue taking place a year later also gives them a bit of a resolution to a lot of the storylines from that first year of Local Man. Doing it a year later is really fun, but it also means they're taking a hiatus after this. This is the last Local Man for a while. I've loved it. It's from Tim Seeley and Fleece. Fleece on art is so perfect for this book. It's like a commentary on 90s stuff. The folks I talked to at the earlier arc about the art, if you like 90s art, check out this commentary on 90s art from Fleece and the writing from Tim Seeley. He's doing the first ever DCU canon book, by the way. We're getting a vigilante book illustrated by Mitch Gerads, one of my favorite people in comics, incredibly talented artist on Mr. Miracle, amongst other things, with Tim Seeley, and they're doing a Peacemaker spinoff that is Vigilante that's going to be between season 1 and 2. Highly recommend when that comes out, you check it out. But this is a beautiful, beautiful indie book from Image Comics that deals with 90s image type stuff. Next up, we've got Nightwing number 119. And again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. This might as well be a number 1. All of these all in, if you see the all in the corner, are new jumping in points to the regular continuity, but with new teams so you can get into it. The Tom Taylor run that just ended with 118 last week, there literally was a Nightwing last week, a Nightwing this week, was one of the best Nightwing runs I've ever read. Tom Taylor went to Detective Comics. That made the list as well. This new team of Dan Waters, who I love, Dan Waters is such a good writer, and Dexter Soy, who I don't know well. I've seen some of his stuff, but this is a brand new arc that is so good. I love the way they're taking Nightwing. I love what they're doing with making him a little harder edged and still good at heart. Like Tom Taylor made him very Boy Scoutish in a way that worked. This is going to be a little bit more of the violent Nightwing that you are worried about what choices he has to make in hard situations. Really intrigued by this opening of this arc. And then the last of the top 10 of October 23rd, 10 feels longer, is X-Men number 6. This feels like classic X-Men to me. I really am enjoying this team of new and old X-Men mixed together. This is a Cyclops-led team, and he feels like a leader. This is illustrations by the great Ryan Stegman. Ryan Stegman, again, to Jeremy who asked about art. I think it was Jeremy. Highly recommend. Ryan Stegman is an absolute genius. I love his work. Jed McKay, really crushing it on Avengers, but also on X-Men. He's really good at team books. His Black Cat, some of my favorite Black Cat stuff ever. This is such a good duo. Jed McKay working with Ryan Stegman is a delight. I highly recommend this book. Really, really digging it so far. That is going to be my top 10 for the week of October 23rd. Before we get to the previews of what's to come out today, October 30th, at your local comic shop, I will be giving you guys recommendations of the books I'm going to be personally reading. I want to check on the live chat real quick, but that would require me typing, so I apologize for the slight delay. This was not pulled up yet because I've got 100 things pulled up. All right, let's check on the chat right quick. Guys, we were at 174 in the chat before I started talking about comics. We only dipped to 166. That means only 8 people left when we left movies and TV. That is insane because comic videos do not do as well. So only 10 people being like, not for me. Thank you. That means 95% of you are here for all of it. And that means the world to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And anyone watching this later, you're awesome because comics are a medium that don't get the love movies and TV do. So I appreciate you being here. All right, let's see. The last super chat we got was from Rick Costa, which I appreciate very much. Next one is from Captain Ash. Captain Ash says, "Hey, Coy, got back into reading comics about a year ago. I remembered seeing you on an ep of the Wednesday Club from Geek and Sundry years ago, and you suddenly popped back in my head a few weeks ago. Love the comic coverage. Comic Ash, I missed that show. Taliesin and I go way, way back. Amy Dollar and I obviously did Heroes together. Me and Matt Key obviously did Marvel Movie News together. That was like a family reunion when we got to do that show. I miss it dearly. Thank you for all these years later, finding me again. And I'm trying to bring that energy back to covering comics in this way. So I really, really am glad you found it and that you appreciate it. That is the goal. Wednesday Club, I thought, did a lot for comics. So I really appreciate that comparison. And I'm so glad you found me there. Captain Ash, also, thank you for the super chat. That is very kind. Thank you for being here. And thank you for contributing. Means the world. Johan Garcia. Hey, Coy, a longtime supporter. Just wanted to say I love your positivity. What are some of your top Captain America comics you recommend? 1, thank you for being here, for being supportive, for Super Chat. 2, positivity is a very tricky thing on the internet, so I appreciate you noticing and supporting it. I really want to be that voice on the internet, and it is a slower growing voice and a harder voice to do because negativity is it's easy to lump on. It's easy to snowball. So I appreciate you you liking the other. Captain America wise, I really love some of the old school 1944, World War commentary stuff. I really liked Hydra Cap's arc for the most part. I thought it was really interesting, but my favorite of all time is going to be Ed Brubaker stuff. Anything Ed Brubaker Captain America is that government questioning the ethics of things tone. I think Cap does the best because he's literally a spangled man. He's a flag, but he's about what the flag represents at its core to him, not about what it represents at the moment. And I think that the Brubaker stuff really shone a beautiful light on that. That'd be my number one recommendation. The recent stuff that just ended, the J. Michael Straczynski stuff, it started really good. It got a little too... There was some mysticism stuff that I didn't really think fit the tone, but overall the storytelling was great. The art was beautiful. It really felt like classic 40s art mixed with modern technology, which was cool. It felt very like Americana. So recently, Straczynski, all-time Brubaker, classic. Go back to the where it all started. But those are some of my favorites for Captain America. And thank you again. Jeremy is back. I always thought The Witching Hour would be a dope live-action project. Also, Danger Girl. Any IPs you think should be considered for live action? That is a very fun question. I think The Witching Hour would be great. I think Danger Girl has been greenlit or at least optioned a bunch of times, and I always thought that was going to be logical and like the next step. I would love to see her as well. I've always wanted Saga. I think Saga is unfilmable, so I want to be proven wrong, and I think there will be some incredible director team that can make the unfilmable filmable. I really loved Deadly Class, the adaptation they did, but I really think that could be a great series of movies. It's also like... It's like a John Wick meets Harry Potter, which both are super popular right now. And Assassin School is fascinating. Go hard R, just make something nuts. I think Deadly Class is really special. It's a Rick Remender book. I would love to see... I mean, there's so many adaptations now, but there's actually less things. The Clone Saga has always meant a lot to me. That's an IP that's like within the Spider-Man IP, obviously. But yeah, Deadly Class... Saga, we got a Y the Last Man. I didn't love it, but I would have loved to have seen that. Oh, Animal Man. Animal Man has not been adapted. I would love to see Animal Man. I think he's really interesting and meta and fun. I think he's as a different kind of meta than Deadpool. That could be really interesting to see translated. Grant Morrison's run as an all-timer. Miracle Man. I really, really love a Golden Age hero with modern age sensibilities, and I think the Tom King run adapted would be one of the best IP adaptations of all time. Cover is a Brian Michael Bendis, David Mack story about a comic artist who is a CIA operative that uses cons as a cover, and it also does covers, which is a really cheeky way to tell that story. So love to see some of the real world of comics get adapted. In that same vein, Public Domain from Chip Zdarsky is a commentary on creating comics, and I think comic books themselves need more awareness, so I'd love to see Public Domain adapted. Any of those. I hope that helped. That was a bunch of indie books I'd love to see made. Thank you, Jeremy, for the second contribution. That means a lot to me. We also have in the Super Chats from Ant-Mans. Hey, Coy, do you think Daredevil will ever interact and team up with the Avengers in the MCU? I think it would be a great opportunity for his character to get in the spotlight more. I would almost recommend it for everyone. For the old Netflix show, I'd recommend it for the Disney Plus show to do better. I would recommend it for the Avengers to have some grit to them. I would almost also guarantee it because I think Daredevil is the biggest win in acquisitions next to the biggest, most expensive acquisition in acquiring Fox. Daredevil was how long they rented out the character and then they got him back. Whereas Fox was a billions of dollar merger buying them back. I think Daredevil is almost as big of a win. X-Men is going to be the next era. I really think Marvel's just getting started. To be honest, Kevin Feige did stuff for 15 years to get his X-Men back. We're about to see peak Marvel with X-Men. But Daredevil's that surprise sleeper that really came out of the gate swinging and was, I think, the best adaptation Marvel did up until this point. And I'm excited to see what they do past this point. But I think Daredevil is the shining light of what you can do. So they should, because it is exceptional. It's also got some grit that they use. He's also so multifaceted that the yellow suit Daredevil with comedy wasn't not him. It still fit. So he's so versatile. Charlie Cox is exceptional. D'Onofrio, I think, is going to be in Spider-Man 4. He even said in the footage we saw, Spider, Man of the Skull in his chest, Daredevil, he mentioned a spider vigilante. Spider-Man mentioned in Daredevil is so excited. I think Spider-Man shows up in Daredevil. So I honestly think Daredevil will be in Avengers and will be a giant force going forward in all of that stuff. I really think it's going to be Daredevil's town. We're living in New York for quite some time. All right, let's talk about, thank you to each and every one of those super chats. Like I said, I will not leave a super chat. I will not leave the stream without getting to every super chat. If any of them went away and I didn't see them in time, I scrolled all the way back, but let me know. Let's check out the new releases. These books are available today, October 30th, at your local comic book shop. As always, I list these in order of which publisher I'm getting the most from. These are the books that I'm personally recommending, the books that I'm going to be checking out first. Sometimes I read books that aren't even on this list I give out because they've been recommended to me, but these are the one that caught my eye in order of the publisher that has the most items that I'll be checking out. And this week, the most is Marvel. From Marvel, I'm going to be checking out Amazing Spider-Man number 60. That is the conclusion of the long-running Zeb Wells run. More misses than hits for me, but he's ending it strong, and I am liking the end of his crazy long run. We've also got Captain America number 14. We've got Chasm, Curse of Cain number 3. Deadpool Team Up number 3. This is Rob Liefeld's final time on the character. Rob Liefeld isn't retiring from comics, but he is retiring from him doing Deadpool comics. So if you want to read some Rob Liefeld Deadpool and art from Rob, this is the last time, and it's a giant team up event. We've also got Namor number 4, NYX number 4, Phases of the Moon Knight, Mark Spector is back, number 3. Predator versus Black Panther, which has been so exceptional. Benjamin Percy's killing it, writing both those characters and how they fight in such a great way. Star Wars, The Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising, number 3. Ultimate X-Men, number 8. Venom War, Fantastic Four, number 4. Little Doom action in there, building up Doom's importance. Venom War, Zombiotes, number 3. And Wolverine Revenge, number 3. And The Red Band, the R-rated version with an extra page and a lot more blood, number 3 as well, from Greg Capullo on art. Greg Capullo, another of the great artists working right now. Very 90s, but with modern sensibility. Very Todd McFarlane inspired. Highly recommend, if you like 90s comics, check out Greg Capullo's stuff. Over from Image, I'm very excited to check out Feral number 7, as well as Knights vs. Samurai number 2. That is from David Desmalchin, friend of the show, friend of the me, friend of the comics. Redcoats number 7. Spawn number 358. It's crazy. I thought it said 258. 358 on Spawn is nuts. That book is unkillable like Spawn. Violent Flowers number 2 is the last one I'm checking out from Image. DC's got a small but mighty list. DC only has 7 books this week, but they're all like my most anticipated. DC's slate is bananas. Action Comics number 1073. Loving what's going on with Superman right now. Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween number 2. This is a very sentimental, near and dear to my heart book. We lost Tim Sale a couple years ago, and he's one of the greats. Tim Sale is one of the artists that changed Batman. Jeff Loeb wrote with Tim Sale on art, The Long Halloween, which informed Dark Knight, which informed the Batman, which informed all modern Batman in a way. He's doing a sequel, and they had written it out. They had outlined it with Tim Sale, and then he passed. So there was no art, or there was outlines and some stuff which gets incorporated. But instead of not ever releasing the story, different artists that love Tim are doing the design of Tim Sale, but not trying to copy Tim Sale's art, but doing like the long ears, the certain suit on Catwoman, all that stuff in the sequel called The Last Halloween. So it's really obviously heart-wrenching to read, but it's also really important to get that story out. I think it's really cool, and it's Halloween, and what better way to celebrate than the Long Halloween sequel? We've also got a book that was a huge surprise to me, Multiverses Collision Detected. I have hosted the Multiverses panels at Comic-Cons. I think the game is a delight. I love the team behind it. I love, like, Matt as Scooby is the best. I love Tara. What she does as the 20 character she always plays is insane. This book is somehow the insanity of the game, and it's written so well and so funny. I actually laugh out loud reading it. It is so a surprise. Looney Tunes mixed with DC, mixed with other Warner Brothers properties is so much better than I could have dreamed. Love the Multiverses book. Nice House by the Sea. This is a James Tynion IV horror book that I highly recommend. Very supernatural, very great. Penguin Special number 1. This ties into the Tom King Penguin miniseries that just ended. I'm very excited to read it because I love that it feels like the Penguin show, and that's my favorite show on TV right now, end of the year. Then we've got Poison Ivy Swamp Thing, Feral Trees number 1. Loving the Poison Ivy book. Very excited to check out this team up with Swamp Thing. And Wonder Woman Uncovered, which is a celebration of the artists that do covers of Wonder Woman as a book. Lots of good stuff from DC this week. Then from Boom, I'm most excited for Uncanny Valley number 6. A very weird commentary on art and adaptation in different mediums. Really fun time. And then from Dark Horse, Nightclub 2, Mark Miller does like this really fun teenage vampire book team that is just a weird good time. And that is going to do it for this week, you lovelies. Those are the books I am most anticipating for today. All of those are available at your local comic shop. I will be checking all of those out, and then I'll be letting you guys know next week what of those were my favorite 10, because now we're doing a top 10, and that's what this show is about. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscription bell. I am really, really happy to be approaching 40K. I'm going to be doing a 50 comic giveaway at 50,000. Don't know exactly how, but I think it's going to be like comments on the video that hits 50K. Anyone that's subscribed is eligible. Giving out 50 comics. I'm going to send them to your address. 50 books from me to you to celebrate 50K when we get there. So hit that subscription bell. Encourage others to hit that subscription bell. I'm so excited to keep growing this page. Next month, I think I'm going to be covering Dune. So you can count on this page covering Penguin, the next 2 episodes on Sundays. Today, literally in like 7 hours, there's going to be a Agatha video covering the finale. So if you're watching Agatha tonight, keep your eyes peeled for an Agatha, so hit that notification bell when that drops, and then Sunday, Penguin, and in between then, I think I'm going to do a live either tomorrow on Halloween midday or on Friday afternoon of my most anticipated November releases. So we're going to do another live this week, so if you missed this live, if you're watching it later, I'm likely going to do another live tomorrow or Friday with all my most anticipated November releases, so stay tuned for that as well, and then once we get into November, I'm going to keep covering everything I do here, but add Dune and maybe some other stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that notification bell. Very excited you guys were all here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Dune 1 and 2 were my favorite sci-fi anything in years, like pure sci-fi. So I'm really hoping the Dune show is great. I'm going to quickly go through this chat. Much love to everyone in here. Try to catch as much as I can on the way out. Great to see Michael McCarsell in here. Very excited to see a lot of the OGs. Rick Costa as well. The conversations are always very civil, and that always makes me very, very happy. They should cast me as Metal Mario in the Mario Brothers 2. I'm ready for that as needed. Let's see. Content, it's art. Me and Greg talking about content versus art was very funny in that trailer reaction. We also got Charlie's Flicks Fix, also a regular of Real Rejects, and here. I would love to do a comic book shopping with Yahya round 2. Hopefully stuff is cooking. Tune in to find out. Hopefully in the next year, 2, 3. But yeah, I'd love to sit down with Yahya again. Big fan of that fella. Not a fan of the title card. Might grow on me. Yeah, it's a little simple, but they do tend to change their title cards as they go. Jason Marbach, I'm so sorry about the ads. I got nothing. We'll be here, Coy. Thanks for a good stream. Appreciate you, Jason. Thank you for surviving those. That's your immediate next comment. Daredevil Born Again coming out on Ian's birthday makes me happy. The entire release slate is pretty sweet. Robert Turner, I do agree. Will, thank you. I will try to keep being amazing. Jack, you were the first one to tell me that Ironheart comes out in June. That changes everything. Very excited about it. Ash, talking about fatigue. It don't exist. Not for comic fans. I don't think so anyway. Trailer said June. I appreciate everybody's updates. People are saying Daredevil. A lot of Daredevils as the most accurate number 1, which is mine as well. Over 50% guarantee Spidey cameo. I think so, especially with them saying Spider in the trailer. Come on now. Very excited. Didn't Bob Iger say they would focus on quality over quantity? 2025 slate is a bit much in my opinion. Nerdy Mastermind. A lot of this stuff was already filmed, and I think that I think a lot of this looks like quality, but I do understand where that's in abundance, but they can't not release it. They're not Warner Brothers with the Looney Tunes thing. This stuff ties together. So I really hope that this all is quality and quantity, and I do think they're going to slow down 2027 and beyond, but stuff needs to keep coming out that's already been made. 1, tie into the story. 2, to celebrate the art itself. 3, it would be such a loss to not ever see these things. So we'll see. Lee Garrett. Oh, good shout out there. All right. We got a few Sea Y'alls. We got some King in Black love. Documentary The Making of Kingdom Come. I have not seen yet. Fish Panto. Stamina derivative. Fair. Yeah, that's a very kind way to say it is a plagiarism. An ad about ads. Oh, that's crazy. Guys, I have no control of that, but man, that is crazy. Loving all the Absolute runs. Talked about Absolute Wonder Woman in this episode. I talked about Absolute Batman in 2 videos prior. Big fan of those. I think they're really killing it. And then I think they'll address how Fisk got out of prison. Ramvy's run is over. Saying Quad 92. I couldn't get into it either. I liked it enough, but it wasn't like the revelatory thing a lot of people said. That it was fine. Like, I got what they were going for, but Ramvy's Detective Comics didn't connect with me either, right? You're the first person I've seen say that, and I really love this new one. So get on Detective Comics now. It is dope. So bummed about Local Man. I was really enjoying it as well, Ash. I love seeing comic book reviews in this chat, which makes me happy. Video quality's looking great today. Thanks, Galaxy Geek. Good to see you in here. I appreciate that. Yes, we are doing it, gang. All right, I think that is as many as I could get to. Power scrolling. Love to see a lot of familiar names in here. Appreciate all the live love. Please appreciate you guys being here for the whole hour. Please do share this video with comic fans like yourself. Please do leave a comment below letting me know. In the comments, let me know what are your top 3 most anticipated of that 9 slate of next year. Let me know what you're excited for and why. Let me know what comics you're into. Let's just have conversations below. I really appreciate it. And your homework this week as we go into Halloween tomorrow. what is your favorite cosplay or character to dress as or Halloween thing and why? Is it your favorite character? Is it a character you feel you look like? Like, I want to talk about Halloween a little bit. So, most anticipated, any comics you're reading, costume stuff, let's have a chat. Much, much love. Last one, Johan Garcia got in at the last moment. Thank you for the cap recommended and helping me get into comics again. Thank you, man. I met you at MegaCon with my brother, and thank you for taking your time with us. Oh, dude, I loved MegaCon and meeting folk. I'm so glad we got to meet, and I'm so glad we got to talk comics in person. That makes me really freaking happy. Dude, anytime I'm at a con, I love meeting folks. So if you ever see me at a con, please say hi. I'm so glad you did. I love MegaCon. I'm hoping things work out in February, and I can join you guys again. That's one of my favorite cons in the world. In the world of all the cons I do, MegaCon means the world to me. So I'm really stoked we got to dive into that, and we got to talk in person. And I hope you enjoy those Captain America Rex. I think you'll dig Brubaker especially. Douglas McKinney, Darth Vader, always crushing it. Good to see you, man. Happy Halloween to each and every one of you. I might be back for a live stream tomorrow talking spooky stuff as well as the November slate. We'll see. But no matter what, tonight, eyes peeled for the Agatha finale. Much love. Leave those comments. Hit that like. So share this video. Subscribe. Press buttons. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Post-credit scene of Coy trying to turn off a live. Yay!